Okay, perfect. All right, so we have, everybody hopefully is joined and able to find their virtual seat here. I'm going to share my screen because we have some exciting news. It seems like AutoCrit, um, we always have exciting news, but we're always constantly releasing new features, updating our systems, and hopefully making things better for our members. And let's go ahead and share my screen. And boom. Okay. This is a look inside the AutoCrit window. Everything you kind of always imagined is here. Nothing new on this screen. So I just want to take a quick step back, not too long of a journey through time, but kind of think about some of what makes AutoCrit special and hopefully um, why you all love it so much, for most people anyway, as we go through. So the whole purpose behind AutoCrit was to try to help authors uh, generate better work, produce something that they love and been proud of to share amongst their family, friends, and hopefully an audience with which they may or may not purchase such a work. So the whole goal of AutoCrit around is to help authors achieve their goals, achieve better things, and reach higher than they thought they could. We provide a tool, we provide a community, we provide all the education we possibly can find. And with that very goal as always as our primary focal point here at AutoCrit, staring at how can we help authors do something better. And we've made huge strides in that over the last 12, 15 years as we've been around. And now, lately, I think you've noticed, perhaps you've been with us for any time, we've been kind of pushing ourselves further and further down the road towards the planning, writing, editing, publishing, and now we're going to slide in a little bit to the marketing side of things. As we go through, what do we actually do with that thing that you produce in AutoCrit and that you love and you've analyzed and you've looked at it from different ways and you've looked at your pacing, your dialogue, all the things, the line editing, the developmental editing. What do you do with this thing? And for the most part, we've kind of I hate to say shied away, but we haven't focused on that because our emphasis was always on the planning, writing, and editing side of things. But as we've talked to authors and we've met a lot of people, it's like they're just having a more difficult time understanding how do I write to a market? How do I find an audience for this wonderful piece of work that I've found? And to some extent, finding that marketing side of things could be just as important as you're writing well, right? If nobody reads it or if it's not positioned in a certain way, you don't have an idea on how you're going to deliver this to somebody, then it's that I don't know, Catherine, what is it that the tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it? Did it actually fall? Well, if you wrote a story and nobody's around to read it, did you actually write it to a certain extent? There's kind of that idea that to validate you have to actually find an audience at some point for that purpose. Now I know it's somebody's like, well, I'm not writing for a market. Some of you out there maybe aren't writing, what do they call it, airport fiction or whatever, airplane fiction, where you're trying to read a novel on the go, but you're not writing popular. Maybe I don't know. You're not your intent is just to get your idea, your story on the page, and without really concern for a market in general. That's great. Just like everything else in AutoCrit that we show, we're not going to force you to do this either, right? Everything in AutoCrit is voluntary. You can use all the different features that we provide. Um, at your discretion. So I don't want you to feel intimidated, like, oh no, Kevin's going to talk about marketing. Now I have to put my marketing hat on. I got to think like a businessman and I can't think like an author. I'll lose all my creativity. And this is just going to, AutoCrit's going down. That's terrible. Please don't think that way. Just like everything else in AutoCrit, including some of the accountability stuff, including the note card, we're trying to meet you with what fits your writing and creativity process the best. And you can use tools or not use tools. And we're really going to try to work with you and your current methods and not force you to change how you do what it is that you love to do. That's always another one of our goals too, is in helping you become a better writer, not to force you to use something that you don't want to do, right? Or to push you down to a place where you feel uncomfortable or whatever. But as with everything else in AutoCrit, as you're going to see, some of the new tools we have created here with regard to the marketing side of things, they're very easy to use. Just a click of a button and you can get some information. And even if you don't like that aspect of it or it intimidates you or you're not quite certain how it might fit into your process, why not see what it can do for you, right? Just dip your toe into the marketing side just a little bit. And I think you'll realize as you go that it's going to open up a whole world of opportunities for you and maybe open up some creative doors as well. And kind of, oh, wow, I didn't realize that my audience could be this, or my audience is used to seeing such and such. Maybe it'll open up a few realms of your writing for you that you can add and edit. It's almost to the part where it's going to slide into your editing process, and understanding you're writing to a market, you're writing to someone in an audience. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and show you some of the new things that we got coming up here. So if you're
Kevin,
not,
can I
go
step
ahead.
in 1 second? Because we got a great question from one of our
Oh,
brand new
sure,
members
please.
about whether you needed to use AutoCrit for a bit before you stick around for this demo today. And I see other members already replying. You can be brand new seeing AutoCrit for the very first time today and just keep this replay on, favorites for when you're ready for marketing, but it never hurts. Get in on the excitement, see what's new, and more importantly, drop your opinions on what you think about it, because that's the opinions that we use to improve our products as we go along. So you do not have to leave if you are brand new. We want you
No,
to
please
stick
don't.
around.
No need to leave. We're gonna some things I'm going to show are applicable to brand new people as well, because if it's kind of how the whole AutoCrit system works and how our thought process is behind it. So if you're brand new to the system, just stick with me for 1 second here, as we do look at what we expect AutoCrit to have, and whether you have a story or not. So that's what I want to go to next is, when you're coming into AutoCrit, usually in maybe two different spots. One, you just maybe have an idea. You're just in the planning stage. You haven't written anything yet. You just have a story idea. Or number two, a lot of times we have people that come to us with a story they've already written. Maybe it's a first draft, maybe it's something old they're bringing back out or whatever, but they already have something down. So the whole premise is you're probably falling into one of those two buckets. Either I'm going to look at something brand new, or I'm going to try to look at something that I already have written. So if you have something already written, you can simply click on upload a file here. When you log into AutoCrit, we're in the writer's desk for those brand new people. You click on upload a file, and you can drop your docx, your RTF, or text file in, and you can bring it in, and you should hopefully see your file pop up. In this case, I'm going to look at a Frankenstein here as my demo file. Your text should just pop right in. You can go from there, and you can kind of start analyzing it and looking at it from different directions. If you're on the side where you're just in the planning phase, you haven't had anything written, and you want to use AutoCrit's planning tools, we're probably going to come up here. It's going to be a blank screen. You're going to click up on here on the planning, and you're going to work on usually using some of the fiction story builder or the nonfiction story builder, depending what genre you're writing. So now that we're here primarily to talk about a new feature we brought in, one of the features that we brought in actually works inside the story builder, because we're going to provide tools for you to analyze your marketing capacity of your story before you write it in the building side, during when you write it in the analyzer, and after in the analyzer as well. So you can look at your marketing potential and your marketing analysis before, during, and after your writing process, kind of rolling in that idea of your analysis and your editing of the work with the marketing bent in mind. So let's take a look at that on the builder side. So this, I want to pretend like I didn't write Frankenstein here, because of course I didn't. Mary Shelley did. But we're going to look at the fiction story builder. And in here, I've pre-built just a regular old premise. I had a generated premise for me. So this is where we're going to drop in your idea for your story, right? Let me widen this out if I can, if it'll let me. This is wide as she'll go. Ooh. Okay. Let me zoom in perhaps to make sure we see this. So idea behind the story builder is you're going to put in the framework of your story, the structure of your story. You're going to put a premise, you're going to put your genres, your whatever tropes you want to have in there, your world building. We've been through this a number of times for demo. You can find a demo on, I'm not going to go through specifically how to do a story builder, but you put in all the information you want. Now you work with AutoCrit, whether you input the information, or in this case, you can have the system read what you have in the other fields and generate a new idea for you, given what you have in the other fields, right? So this is a very, very cool tool. In fact, this is probably my favorite tool of all inside of AutoCrit, is the idea that you can work with our system to help flush out a framework for your story. Not only your characters and your premise, but all the way down here to your beats, your mileposts in your story arc, to go forward with, right? So this is an amazing tool. I highly recommend you give it a shot, especially when you're in the planning stage. It opens up a wealth of ideas for you. But okay, so we had an idea like, okay, so we've got this idea and this structure for a story. Is it any good? Wouldn't it be wonderful to know at this point with your idea is what kind of market would this work for? Maybe you have it in your mind, or maybe you're writing a horror story for the first time and you've never written there before. You're not quite sure with how to market it or what the expectations were or what audiences you were looking for. So this works really well if you have no idea at all about what it is that you can find as far as an audience for your story. So we built, zoom out for a second here so you can see, it looks like more typical fashion here. There's a new tab inside your story builder called Market Fuel. And as the name implies, this is going to be a tab where it's going to open up a whole bunch of new ways to analyze the story idea. Now, remember, I haven't written anything. This is just an idea. We're going to analyze that idea with an event on marketing. We're going to provide a market analysis for your story. And it'll give you an overview of what you have. It'll give you a target audience. This is in case this is a YA bent here and the fantasy. And it'll give you, market trends, dynamics, successful titles, publishability, adaptability, risk factors, you name it. This has a whole general broad market analysis of what it is that your work would fit in if you were to write it. And also down here at the bottom, it provides similar books that are associated with your story idea that would be similar to that, right? So it's super cool. If you're not familiar with these works, or maybe, oh boy, that's not what I thought it was going to pop up, or I've never heard of this before, maybe you have something in your idea that you weren't actually anticipating, or maybe there's a new opportunity for you to say, you know what, that is a similar thing, and maybe I should construe my writing in such a fashion. Because remember, you haven't written anything yet. This is all pre-writing. So this is giving you ideas on what it is your market is looking for. This is, I guess they call it writing to market to a certain extent, of having an idea where this is going to go and who you're going to put this in front of at a later date to read your story potentially. Okay, so in addition to your general market analysis, we'll also provide you title options. Who doesn't like book title options, right? I mean, and not only do we give you just a list of options, we'll tell you the style, what audience was associated with this style, and give you a suggested cover image. We're not going to give you the cover image. You're going to have to go and generate that or find a graphic designer or whoever, but we're going to give you ideas. So you're thinking about this in your mind at how this is going to look, because as everybody knows, the cover really is important with regard to marketing. The name of your book and the cover is huge. So you kind of get a feel for, different things like Frost and Flora. This is a story, I'm not even sure, but it's a young adult story about a botanist, I think, or something. Anyway, I didn't really pay that much attention, to be honest with you, for this demo, what exactly it was, but you kind of get a feel that not only you're getting not only the list of the titles, you're also going to get why this was on the list and what it is. And you can also get trope-centric title options, because maybe you're really going for quest of the caregiver. Maybe you're going to go for that hero's journey style feel to your story, and you're going to, that's what I want. It's just another way to spur ideas, and I love it because this is even before you've written the thing, because maybe this will trigger you to, this is the style I want to hit with. This is the audience I want to go for. So it might actually impact how you write your story in different ways as you massage this thing to a finale, and you'll say you hit your arcs where you wanted, and this is it's going to fit if that's how you want to do it. Some people might need that image in their mind to think about as they're writing their story. Okay, and it's always fun too. Why not? Because a lot of these books do fall in a series. Why not give you series names options as well? Who knows, right? It's always fun, especially when you're first starting a series. Okay. In addition to that, we also are going to provide you with a book blurb, and in a book blurb, and we'll also tell you what style it's going to be. We're going to give you some different options of book blurbs, third person, evocative, suspenseful, or this is always fun. It's kind of, I don't know if it's trendy or not now, but you can switch to first person on your book blurb to try to get your audience to get, see through the eyes of the main character. But they're very different. and they give you the notes, they give you condensed sales copy. So this is all shareable stuff. If you're writing something new and you have an audience, you want to say, hey, I'm starting my new series, or I'm starting my new book, or I'm halfway through, and you can send this out to your list to kind of get them excited about what's coming forward. This is great material for your newsletter and or whatever else you're trying to keep your existing audience interested. You have more information to send them going forward. And there's nothing like keeping your audience hooked and interested. Especially if it might be 6 or 8 months before this thing gets out, you might want to just keep trickling out different content for them to be stay engaged with you as the author. All right. So once again, we also do provide search terms. Okay. Always need a list of search terms for keywords. And as we try to market this thing, it never hurts to maybe come up with an idea. And I didn't know, maybe there was a reluctant hero narrative on the specific, all these things that might pop in your head, like anything helps, everything helps with regard to marketing your work and trying to find that audience with you. And Amazon categories. This is always interesting too, because if you're going to put it on Amazon, whether you're self-pubbed or whatever, it is always a trick. Like, where do I put it? There's so many different options. There's so many different niches and genres. So the system read your story and thinks this is where it would be a good fit for it in these different genres and subgenres. So, I mean, it's just a time saver, and or maybe you didn't think about a certain genre or subgenre that could make all the difference in the world with regard to sales if you hit these different pockets. Okay. We also do BizAc categories. This is, this is what they call like born broad or whatever. This is more for the old school category you would put it in if you're going to promote traditional publishing, I believe, on that side of things. Okay. And finally, the last tab under Market Fuel is we're going to actually go ahead and give you more sales copy for Amazon. We'll give you sales copy for Facebook. We'll give you, social media copy, you name it, all there. And at the bottom here, potential lead magnets. Just what can I do to get people interested in this? What can I do to get people to sign up to my newsletter? What can I get people to be interested in my work other than just clearly the cover, right? So why don't you create an interactive map of your world? Right? Character profile book, do a prequel short story. These are just things that might trigger something in your mind. I'm like, you know what? How am I going to sell this book? What are my different options? What can I put in here with to trigger some excitement about it and or get people on my list to get interested? So these are just comes up with just new ideas for you to think about when you go to market your story. Okay, so this was walking through Market Fuel, and you can get a feel for what it is when you just have the story idea. Now, if you build your idea, that's great. What can go wrong? I always love this. So let me clear this. What could possibly go wrong with everything, right? What happens when I come into AutoCrit, I put in my premise and it doesn't run? Let's say this is a story about a basketball player who wins, right? Yeah, I just came up with that's like the most generic short-term thing ever, and I didn't give the system any information at all. It's only 51 words. I go to Market Fuel and I say, I want to give me an analysis. It doesn't give me anything. What happened? Well, you do need to actually put in information in here, right? You do need to provide more than one sentence. You're going to have to put in a little bit of information and give us, I think I copied something here about a basketball player here. Let's grab this. So let's give it a little bit of information, right? So this is standing in his way, botanical dreams, or apparently I spelled something wrong here on my, anyway, grab that out of the way. Okay, so we provide a little bit more information, and now when you come back here and you run it, it will have something to chew on and will give you some information. So the more information you put in the story builder, your better your market analysis is going to be. Right, so that's just the step number one. Step number two is if you're having issues and it's not wanting to generate at all. I gave it a lot of information, and maybe I'm working in an older file, I've been with AutoCrit for a while. Since this is a new feature, you may need to clear your cache. You may need to clear your cache, go to the top right of your browser, whatever, or you go to your history and clear the cache of your file, log out and log back in, give it a shot. and try to run it again. So if it's not a volume of information, volume of text issue, you have, quite a bit of stuff written, try that. And if that doesn't work for you, let us know. Like I said, this is a new feature, so we're all, but a lot of times it's either one or two issues that pop up here is not enough info because it needs the story builder to be filled. Something, right? It needs something to actually understand what it's going to give you. And then number two is if you've been around for AutoCrit a while, maybe there's an older cache of what this looks like on the sidebar, so you might need to refresh to get the new stuff to pop up for you. So those are the two things. And then number three, if that doesn't work, reach out to our wonderful support team, and they will be happy to help.
Kevin, we got some great comments going in the chat that I wanted to pull up
Sure.
while we're here. So in this story builder, what we're generating are ideas. If you
Yes.
type something here, the builder will not write it in your text. It is not changing your text. Someone mentioned title. It's not going to change your title if you use the title for Market Fuel. These are brainstorming tools. You are still safely in the AI assisted category. If you went down to the beat sheet section, based on what we have here in this premise, and then you had it generate an idea, what it's going to give you is not something you can copy and paste into your work and use as writing. You still have to write. So all of our tools give you feedback, they give you ideas, but you have to write every single word that's in your manuscript yourself. So when it comes to publishing and AI assisted and AI generated, your book is still your book. We are still not generating content for your book. You're still safely AI assisted. So this is just meant to be a brainstorming tool. And no, we do not train any of our AI on our members' work.
No. And thank you, Catherine, for saying that. Almost with everything with AutoCrit and every facet of what we do, we don't write for you. We give you ideas, we give you feedback, we read, we analyze, we try to understand what it is you've written. We try to give you new ideas to go push yourself in different, to go further and get better. That's what we're doing here. Everything in the market, just like the story builder, is just a bunch of ideas. Market Fuel, that's just a bunch of ideas as well. I mean, I guess you could copy and put it if you want, but we don't recommend that. We recommend using it as an idea, like that book blurb or your list of your titles. Those are just ideas. Maybe one's a perfect, and you just, I got to use it. That's fine, use it. But you can also modify it slightly and use it for how you wish. That's the whole goal here, is just to give you ideas, give you feedback, give you another angle with which to look at what you've written or going to write. Right? That's the goal here, not to try to supplant you or get rid of your marketing person or get rid of your editor. No, we're still working with humans every day. They're wonderful. We love them. And the idea is to help you do more on your own and try to grow more as your own author and your person. Give you some more new skills, new ideas, and just try to keep things fresh too. The worst thing you can do is have a be stale. Maybe you're on your 25th book and you just, I'm so sick and tired of writing this series. I want to do something different. Well, this is great. Let's try to expand your mind here and work with us, and as we give you more ideas on how to keep things interesting.
Yeah, it really simplifies the process. A lot of this marketing stuff is stuff that, like Becca on our team and myself and Kat, we go to Amazon and we're Googling, typing in searches like books where the villain gets the girl, books where it's fantasy but doesn't have a happy ending. And basically this system is doing that searching in the background for you. This is going to add hours and hours and hours of time back. And it doesn't mean that you just want to say, oh, yeah, that's a perfect fit because it said so. You still might want to go pull up other books and look at it and check out these comps and make sure they're a good fit. But it will save you so much time as opposed to starting from nothing and manually going and looking it up. Who has books with this trope that I have? Who has books with this theme that I have? Who has a book in my genre that might write to my readers? So that's the idea
Yes,
too.
and the idea is too is that you only know what you know as well, right? You're limited. Sometimes you have tunnel vision, like you've been doing the same thing for so long. I'm gonna write the next Hunger Games or whatever. Your mindset on this, and you run this report, and unbeknownst to you, there's a whole nother world, a whole nother market that might be somewhat similar to that you can tap into with these ideas. That's the whole goal, is try to get out of your own way, look at things from a new perspective, and let the creativity blossom from there, not to do anything else on an action. Okay. Now, very similar to this, I did run Frankenstein through this now. So let's flip the script. This was pre-validating your idea to a certain extent. Let's look at the market of that's just an idea. I haven't actually written anything. So what if you wrote something? What if I wrote something similar to Frankenstein, or some sort of fan fiction of Frankenstein, I guess you could say. Under the analysis tab, there's a fiction and nonfiction analyzer. And in the fiction analyzer, we're going to have market fuel. Now we have, as far as what could go wrong here. Now, so after you've written something, the first thing you need to do is actually analyze your chapters. We need to get the chapters completely filled, where this is where AutoCrit's going to read through your story. You're going to click Analyze My Chapters, and it's going to give you a synopsis. It's going to give you conflict, characters, all the stuff that we've typically do. We're going to read each chapter and provide this information to you, synopsis, a timeline. These are the things that are going to be provided for every single chapter in your book. So this needs to be completed first. And we have lots of other videos out there on how to use the story analyzer. I'm not going to get sucked into that too much, but suffice it to say is you need to put your text in. Hopefully it has chapters that it identifies. You add the chapters in, and you click on that, analyze all my chapters. And I don't know how long your story is, but it might take 5-10 minutes depending on how long your book is. But it's going to go through and quote unquote digitally read your stuff. We're going to have a digital beta reader automatically go through and understand what it is and compile what it is that your book is about on a chapter by chapter basis. Those all sorts of fascinating things you can look at just in the story analyzer. After running the chapters, you run the overall, kind of get a feel for all the chapters rolled up into one, which is always great. To get a good feel for, where it fulfills a premise, what this beta reader thought the important chapters were and things like that. Get an idea for all your characters, what their needs and wants are, and go ahead and come with a backwards blueprint. I love the backwards blueprint, as it does give a structure and outline. Even if you don't have an outline, you didn't do a builder or anything like that, it basically fills out your story builder for you to a certain extent, giving you all your characters and your beats. So you're going to have an idea, what was your story about? So if you're a pantser and you didn't do an outline, or you didn't write to any type of, you just kind of threw it out there and just, hey, let's just write something. Great. We'll kind of give you that structure that it's at. So once you have this information, you've completed all your analyzer. Really, the chapter is the critical one, but you want to run through these first, would be great. Click on the Market Fuel tab, and what's going to happen is, instead of just looking at your idea like we did in the builder side of things, we're going to look at your entire story analyzer. We're going to analyze the analyzer from a marketing side of things. So we'll click on this Market Fuel, and it's going to create a market analysis of your text, what you've already written. So it's super interesting. Like, this text is, it knows in this case it's based off Frankenstein. Like, it understands, because clearly this is something out in public domain. It understands where it's coming from, but it thinks it gives you a dedicated readership who are looking for classic horror, gothic fiction, and early science fiction themes. It'll say, who's my target audience? College and university course, literature, romanticism, gothic studies. So this is a little bit based on the style of the work and what's inside it. It's telling me this is different than my idea, which was for a young adult 12 to 18 who's not. This is more for somebody in the high school, university. Clearly the readability used in something old like this has a little bit different vibe than somebody that's 12 to 18. So it will give you an idea of who I'm writing for based on what this is. Competitive landscapes, adaptations, graphic novels, reimagined versions of Frankenstein. So it understands what it is that I wrote, and it's providing you that information. Now, you might think, I already knew all this. That's great. But a lot of times, especially if you're moving to new areas or new genres or trying something different, you might not have a good feel for this. You may not have an idea of how the audience and the age ranges and things. And this is an nearly instantaneous way of finding that information out and expanding your mind like this. Before you even go talk to anybody or try to sell it to anybody, you would have an idea of what kind of talking points, who am I likely going to try to reach here after you've written it as well. So it should hopefully save time when you're working with, if you're going to try to find an agent or an editor or anything like that, a little bit about what it is you're trying to do here and who you're trying to reach. And so even if you have a more intelligent conversation with some of these people, that can put you much further along the path of success than if you come to somebody like an editor or something like that and have no clue at all about what it is you've written and have no understanding about who your audience could possibly be, and you don't have an intelligent conversation with them about that. They might not even want to take you on, right? They might say this person just needs way too much work. They have no idea what the idea of educating yourself in this fashion is could be priceless, to be honest with you, with regard to just sounding like you know what you're talking about. Even if you don't have any idea what you're talking about, sometimes sounding like you do is it's much more important than knowing. So we're not trying to turn you into some sort of crazy marketer or anything like that, but we are trying to get your mind in the lingo and the words you use and the conversations that you have, and kind of put you in a different mindset to be successful and to meet and greet and present yourself in a professional fashion when you're trying to do something with this work. Okay, so once again, it's the same information. It even gives you similar books like Dracula, Jekyll and Hyde. Clearly, these are some historical Gothic fiction style work. And in addition to that, we're going to provide you with book title options: Resurrection Echo, Shadows of the Creator. I think some of these are pretty cool. I mean, Frankenstein is pretty classic, but honestly, this is, if you're going to try to resell it or to repurpose it in this world, I think this is pretty neat. And Flesh and Fury, that's pretty cool. I don't know if you're really going to go in the horror bent on that one, but anyway, I think you guys get to feel for it. This is cool to do before and after you write. Or I think Becca is a big fan of every time I talk to her, she likes doing right in the middle, at the midpoint. So before you finish your story, run it through the analyzer and kind of see where you're at, because it might dictate perhaps how you pull this thing across the finish line. Doing maybe you're stuck in the middle, in the muddling middle. How am I going to? This is ideas, right? It's all about ideas and momentum pushing you forward to completion. Because really, what we want you to do is finish this book and put a title on the darn thing and put a blurb on the back of a book and accomplish the goal. Right? That should be the goal, is to finish this book. And a part of finishing the book is finishing your marketing as well. Never forget how important it actually is to pull this thing across the finish line and put it in a presentable fashion. Okay, so once again, just as I mentioned, you got to put a blurb on the back of this thing. But it's reading. We know we know the story analyzer. We know what's in the book, so we're able to provide this to you based on what you've written, and it's just a time saver. All AutoCrit is, sure, you can write your own book blurb, right? I'm sure you could. Sure, you can go out there and try to find, but why? This is just another tool inside of AutoCrit, and it's a huge time saving element in just use it, right? We're adding this. This is an add-on to all the other wonderful things that AutoCrit provides you already. And we're just trying to give you another tool to save you time and make you hopefully write and publish in an enjoyable fashion, at least as much as possible. Okay. Search, same as before, and then finally your promo stuff. And if anytime you say, I don't really like this, just click generate it again, and it will actually go through and give you a new idea or a new list of, or whatever it is you're trying to get. In this case, it's going to give you some new ad copy. Now, if like for the blurb or for this, if you keep getting the same exact thing and you keep trying to refresh, trying to have it tell you something different, then there's a problem with regard to what's in the story analyzer, right? Problem not if you think you wrote something it's not coming up that way, then maybe you emphasize something you didn't want to too much in your story, right? Because it's not making this stuff up from that perspective. It's basing everything off of what you wrote here, you analyze in your chapters, and then now it's coming up with this. So if some part along the line it's just coming up with things that don't even match at all, like, I thought I was writing a romance, it's just coming up with all these mystery themes. Well, maybe you have a mystery element that's pretty strong in your story that's coming across, and the system is pulling it through. So that's another indicator from like a dev edit perspective that maybe what I wrote isn't what I think I wrote. So that's, and especially that can come across if like your comparable books don't show up how you think they should, or things of that nature. Just like everything else in AutoCrit, it may be an eye opener. And so yeah, there you go. Always love those eye opening moments, like when you realize that I did screw that up. Or I didn't do what I think I wanted to do there. But anyway, so with that,
Kevin,
I'm gonna open it up to some questions out there. I know I kind of rambled on here for 40 minutes on what this is in the system, and this is just one small piece of what AutoCrit has to offer for you. And this is, hopefully, it's an enhancement of what we already do now with the builder and the story analyzer. What do we have, Catherine? Any questions?
the biggest one is can we sort of summarize the difference between the version of Market Fuel that is in the planning tabs story builder for planning purposes versus
Mhm.
the version that's in the story analyzer for written content you already have?
Sure. So I'll go back to the planning tool here. So this right here, I ran an analysis. Don't The Zoom is playing with me. Okay, this is a premise solely about a high school basketball star who was going to walk away to be a botanist, right? This is the idea that I came up with. Whatever you put in the builder, it will not look at anything over here. If you have something over here, it won't look at it. It's this, when you look at the market fuel, it's going to analyze what's found in the story builder, right? So if you're in the planning side of things, you're in the story builder, you can have a totally separate idea if you want, and give it a different name or whatever, right? It's this own little separate unit, isolated. So the fiction story builder and the market fuel, that's all going to live on its own there. So whatever you put in here with your genres and your tropes and all this kind of stuff, that's what's going to be read by the market fuel aspect of it to give you your market analysis based on only what's in your story builder. Now, your analysis tool here, where we're going to look at your story analyzer, which is over here under the fiction analyzer, this is going to be reading what's in your chapters, right? And your chapters, when you analyze all your chapters, well, that came with what your text is. So you analyze your chapters, it populates all your chapter information, your summaries of your chapters. It's going to be looking, when I do the market analysis, based on what's found in your chapter. So that's the big difference. It's not going to look at all what's in your planning at all. So this is isolated to this tab. Market Fuel is going to be looking back here. I think it looks at your chapters, overall character. It looks at these 4 tabs here. So once again, the more information you provide, just like in the story builder, the more of an outline, more planning thing you put in there, the better market ideas you got. Same with here. You should analyze all your chapters, run your overall, look at your characters, look at your backwards blueprint, then run Market Fuel. That's going to be probably your best experience because it's going to have all that information from the story analyzer to help generate your market analysis. So, and the other thing is too, that's a great point, Catherine. But if you made a lot of changes, let's say you, click at my file here. If you were in here and you made some serious changes to a chapter, maybe you moved something around, you deleted a character, I don't know, you did some pretty heavy line edits and dev edits. You're gonna need, it's not gonna update automatically, right? You're going to need to run your chapters like you'll have an opportunity, like there's an option here to analyze only change chapters. You're going to have to analyze those chapters again and then rerun your market fuel, and it'll update with those significant changes. Now, honestly, you'd have to have some pretty serious changes for your marketing to really change, but who knows, right? Maybe you really, did something crazy, or like you did with Becco, and you only analyzed it. You did the marketing for when it was halfway done, and now you finished the other half of your novel. You have to run everything again when you're done. Basically get an update. It's not, this isn't a dynamic operation here where it updates automatically when I make changes here. It has to be run again. Any other questions, Catherine?
Seeing some questions about nonfiction. And
Uh-huh.
what I was suggesting is while this is tied to the fiction analyzer right now, there's nothing that will keep you from clicking the fiction analyzer, running the chapter level, and doing it there. If you have something like a biography, especially that reads more like a character-centered story than something with arguments like a self-help or education or
Mhm.
business. And then here's the nonfiction version, but you do have to run the chapter level as well.
Yes. It's actually in the nonfiction. To be honest with you, I haven't tested
Yeah,
nonfiction
it's
yet.
up there on the top, but you have to run it through the nonfiction. But again, if you're looking for nonfiction narrative, I would suggest running it through the fiction version and just ignore the tabs that aren't relevant to your memoir and just run the chapter level and then go straight to market fuel. Because that is a sort of better hit, I think, for those character driven storylines.
Yes. And this is going to be a paid feature, right? So if you're a free member out there and think, well, I would like to try this. Unfortunately, as with most of our analysis elements of AutoCrit, this is a paid feature to the system. So you're going to have to become a pro member in order to experience this and give it a try. Now, we have a lot of great initial offers for people to get their toe in the door here and get started. I think Catherine will throw an offer out there. So for $15 for 30 days, you can give it a shot. So that's what 50 cents a day here for 30 days. So I mean, I don't know. If you have something written you want to get a market analysis for it, you can't get much better than that. So by all means, if you're not a pro member yet, please give it a try. You really have nothing to lose from that perspective, other than gain some insight and information and some, hopefully some new ideas for your story. So for $15 for 30 days, you can try it. No long-term contracts or anything like that, but hopefully we'll hook you and you'll stay with us forever, or you'll upgrade to an annual membership or something else going forward. That's our goal. That's our job. But for you, if you're not a paid member yet, please give it a shot. And I think you'll be surprised at how fun it is and how exciting it can make your uh, hopefully. I don't know, some people don't like marketing, but I don't know. I look at it, Catherine, and maybe I'm crazy here, but I'm looking at it more as an editing element as well, because you really have to know what you're writing. Hopefully, if that's your goal, to have somebody read it, you need to have, it's the audience that's king to a certain extent, and what they want, what they're looking for, and what they desire, and how you kind of reach them. It's got to play some role in your mind as you're writing your work.
We've got, I do agree in using it as part of like your reverse outlining phase. And I dropped the link in the chat already. But if you're watching the replay and you go to the calendar and go to events in April, we're restarting AutoCrit 101 in April. And that is a series of free classes that helps you walk through how to plan, write, edit, format, and now market your novel. And some of these market fuel things I will be incorporating in this round that we've never done before, for that reverse outlining phase, for those planning phases, where you're making sure that you have an idea you actually want to invest your time and effort into. If you're a full-time writer and you're writing for business, your time is money, and the projects you spend your time on are going to determine whether or not you have a book that's making you sales or not. So we're going to walk through some of that. So AutoCrit 101 will start in April. It will be a Saturday afternoon class. Please RSVP and come join us. Like I said before, it's free, and it will give you a different way to maybe look at using some of your tools to maximize the time. Because in past episodes, we, just like you guys, were limited by the tools we had. So this new tool opens up a way to save yourself that much more time and streamline your process that much more.
Yeah,
AutoCrit is not oh goodness, we don't use just went completely blank. Sean, I typed it in the chat a minute ago and now I'm forgetting what credits. We don't use credits. So
yes.
you don't have a set amount of credits. AutoCrit's tools do not have caps. If you are a pro member and I have a 6-volume series and you want to go ahead and start remarketing that series, sign up for a lifetime membership, because you can use it for everything you use the rest of the time you're here. I say this as someone who purchased a lifetime membership with my own money. Get the lifetime membership and go ahead and knock out all your books. Start writing your books in the system with the voice to text dictation and the other planning tools. Start organizing your things. Keep your series Bibles here in AutoCrit. There's no limit to how many files you can have at this time, how many series you can have at this time, how many words your files can be at this time. Longer books are going to take a little longer to run than the shorter books, but I've run 250,000 word books through here. And if my internet peters out, I just click save, refresh, come back in and go to only change chapters. So all of that information will be in AutoCrit 101. But this is truly one of the things that makes AutoCrit really shine, is the ability to go in and get your series in the works and get reworking on your marketing like today instead of waiting months, right? So that's
Yeah, and that's it's so true, Catherine. We're here at AutoCrit. We're not trying to nickel and dime you. We're not trying to have our hand out every step of the way. Every time we create a new feature like this, next time we like maybe I don't know, next year we come out with market nuclear instead of market fuel or something crazy like that, right? We just do something amazing. I'm not going to ask for more money. If you become a member, like you're a member, right? We don't change your rates once you get locked in. So if you lock in, like our annual rate now is 180. Let's say a year from now, for whatever reason, we have to make it 199 or whatever. You're locked in. You're paying $30 a month or whatever. We don't change your rates on you. We don't ask for more money either for these new features. So if you want to run, like Catherine said, 6 books a month, great. I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to post about it after you did it. It'd be amazing, right? We're not here constantly asking you for more, 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 more. We're here trying to help you get better and better and better and better. So the longer you stick with us, the longer we'll stick with you, and we're your partner in this, as trying to help you get this book done and out, and hopefully read by somebody. That's the goal with us. We're not here to keep trying to ask more money from you folks. I mean we're a business too. We have to charge money, but we really try to keep our costs as low as possible. And I think there's a lot of people out there that will vouch for this, that people have got, become a member, I don't know how long ago, and they might be paying some ridiculously low amount because they got locked in. We've never asked for more money in that sense. So sure, some of the things we have to charge for, some of our live courses, some of our live, academy things are separate from professional, but these are all, optional. They don't require. These are for education elements, and maybe one of our expert series that we an expert we bring in, we have to cover our costs to make these things happen. But from regard to your membership side of things, uh, we're not going to ask for. This is not like some sort of pyramid scheme where we're going to keep trying to get more and more money from people. We don't do that here.
Mhm. Yeah. We had somebody ask if you can use this to write a query for you. So it's not going to write a query letter for you, but that's probably a good thing because query letters need to be so personalized to the agent and what specific comps they're looking for and tropes they're looking for. But you can absolutely use it to give you a foundation to start on. So here's my genres. We already had that with the backwards blueprint that just came out in November. And now we're expanding on that with here are comps. No more looking around. What comps do the agents want? Well, here's the list I can pick from. Gives you a nice good start. If you do want some help refining your query, we have a query workshop running right now. We just kicked off last night. You can watch the replay of that one and then join live for the second class if you would like. But it would definitely give you a way to skip some of the longer time consuming portions of figuring out your query letter to use something like Market Fuel. Let's see. If you have any questions, we have a support team at the little help bubble in the bottom right corner of the site. Sean is on that support team. I'm on that support team. Kevin is on that support team sometimes. We have a team of people. We are all human. Your support
Yes.
chats are not manned by bots. And there's usually someone on. Most of the time, somebody's around. So just drop us a chat. We will be happy to answer any questions we couldn't get to today because we know we had a lot of people on and a lot of content to cover.
Yes, and my whole goal with this talk too is I didn't want to cover everything. This is just tip of the iceberg for what AutoCrit really has to offer. We have so many features, so many things. But the idea with AutoCrit is you don't have to use all of it either. You can use just one little piece here, one little piece there. You're not. I think I've talked to some people that get so intimidated. Oh, I have to learn how to do all this. You really don't have to learn how to do much to get started, get the analyzer. You copy and paste your text in, and you click a button to analyze, right? That's about as simple as it gets. So you don't be too intimidated by all the different features that you have. Now, as you work your way into it, if you're new to AutoCrit, we have lots of help and training and support and videos, and one little button at a time, you'll get yourself to become a master magician at AutoCrit. But it's one of those things where since we're such a useful toolbox for authors, we have a lot of different tools in our toolbox. And so don't get overwhelmed and don't get too frustrated either, because we're here to help. And hopefully we can get you headed in the right direction. But that's just one of the benefits of being an AutoCrit member. Is you have so much stuff available to you. I didn't even talk about things like the dictate feature and the timers and the tracking and all this. So much that you can use to help you achieve your goals with AutoCrit. And it's something will help you. We guarantee it. Like something inside of AutoCrit will help you become a better writer or be more efficient with your writing and produce better work. It's something that we really feel passionate about here. And I have yet to meet anybody that we can't help, to be honest with you, with our system. So give it a shot. If you and if you have any questions, please reach out to us and give us a chance to explain how something works, or maybe you had a bad experience, maybe something didn't come up where you thought. Usually there's a simple reason behind all of it, and with a couple of clicks or a couple of different changes in where the text is or how it's looking, and then boom, you're off and running and off in the right place. Don't be intimidated as far as reaching out to us either, because we're humans here and we're here to help you. That's our goal. All right, Catherine, any more questions, or are we ready to close this one down?
The only other big pending one, and I know we have several questions, so I know that you have questions, keep sending them to us via the help level, was
Mhm.
how to use this for short works. Because I know you can run a short story through the analyzer. It will say, there's no chapters. Is this a short story? That means you're going to be able to run it on a short story level.
Definitely. And whatever information is in either the builder or the analyzer for the marketing side of things is what it's going to use to generate the marketing information. So if you have a short story, it'll recognize the fact that it's a short story.
All right. Sean, did you see anything I missed?
I think you covered everything, but if you do have any issues, don't forget that you can always message us in the customer service chat, and yeah, we'll help you out. I mean, it's also easier there because we can send you little snippets of where you need to click, and we can guide you through any of our features that you have any trouble with. So, if you want that more personalized experience, you can message us, and we'll help you out. Scott, I see your message. I see you sent me a direct message there. You can send that into the chat and I'll help you out with that.
And we're just getting started here too as we close this thing down. I know this is a big update for us, and we're all excited about it, but we're not stopping either. So just keep your seatbelt on, because we're really pushing through here, and our systems are just getting smarter and better every day. So hold on tight, where it's going to be a great 2025 for AutoCrit.